My name is Derek Fielding, and I'm about to tell you how my wife tried to destroy our marriage with a stupid test she found on social media. Spoiler alert, it didn't go the way she planned. I'm 38, a project manager for a construction company, and apparently the kind of husband who gets tested without his knowledge. Anna, my wife of 14 years, decided I needed to prove my devotion. She just forgot one tiny detail. I'm not as stupid as she thinks I am. It started on a Tuesday morning in October. I was in the kitchen, making coffee and listening to Anna chat with her best friend Miranda through the thin wall between our kitchen and living room. Miranda had just gone through a messy divorce and had appointed herself as Anna's relationship guru. You know what Brad's problem was? Miranda's voice carried clearly through the wall. He took me for granted. Never appreciated what he had until it was gone. Derek's been distant lately, Anna replied. Working late, distracted when he's home. Maybe he's taking me for granted, too. I froze with the coffee pot in my hand. Distant? I'd been working overtime to pay for Natalie's braces and Ethan's soccer camp, but apparently providing for my family made me a neglectful husband. You need to test him, Miranda continued. I read about this thing online. It's called the 5-day disappearance. You vanish for 5 days without warning. Don't answer calls, don't come home. A man who truly loves his wife will move heaven and earth to find her. He'll call everyone, file police reports, post on social media begging for help. My blood ran cold. I set down the coffee pot as quietly as possible and moved closer to the wall. That sounds extreme, Anna said, but her tone suggested she was intrigued rather than horrified. Brad failed miserably when I tried it, Miranda said with satisfaction. He didn't even call my sister until day 3. Didn't post anything on Facebook, just assumed I'd come back when I was ready. That's when I knew he didn't really love me. What if Derek calls the police? Then you know he cares. You can come back and tell him it was a test. He'll be so relieved he'll treat you like a queen forever. I backed away from the wall, my mind reeling. My wife was planning to disappear for 5 days to test whether I loved her enough to panic. The same woman who got annoyed when I called her twice in one day was about to put me through hell to measure my devotion. But here's the thing about being underestimated your whole life. You learn to pay attention. You notice details other people miss. And right now, I was noticing that my wife was planning to torture me based on advice from a woman whose marriage had just imploded. I grabbed my work bag and headed for the door, calling out a casual, "See you tonight," to Anna. She called back sweetly, probably already planning her disappearing act. At work, I couldn't concentrate. Every time my phone buzzed, I wondered if it was Anna setting up her vanishing act. During lunch, I drove home and did something I'd never done before. I searched through Anna's things. In her nightstand drawer, underneath some old magazines, I found a burner phone. My hands shook as I scrolled through the messages. What I found made my stomach drop through the floor. The texts weren't just about the 5-day test. They were steamy messages between Anna and someone named Greg. Messages that made it clear this wasn't some emotional affair. They'd been sleeping together for months. Can't wait to have you all to myself this weekend, one message read. Derek's taking the kids to his mom's. That weekend, 3 weeks ago, I'd taken Natalie and Ethan to visit my mother while Anna claimed she had to work. She'd been screwing some guy named Greg while I was driving 4 hours each way with our children. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. I scrolled further back, finding months of messages. Greg owned a gym downtown. He was divorced, 42, and apparently everything Anna thought I wasn't. The messages were full of complaints about our marriage, about how I was boring and predictable, about how Greg made her feel alive again. But the worst part was the planning. Anna and Miranda had been coordinating the 5-day disappearance test for weeks. Anna would stay at Greg's place. Miranda would provide an alibi if needed. They'd even discussed what Anna should say when she returned to find out if I'd passed or failed her test. I took pictures of everything with my own phone, then put the burner back exactly where I'd found it. My lunch break was over, but I sat in my car for 10 more minutes, trying to process what I'd learned. My wife was cheating on me. She was planning to disappear for 5 days to test my love while she shacked up with her lover. And she expected me to panic, call everyone we knew, and prove my devotion while she was betraying everything we'd built together. Anna had no idea that her husband wasn't the clueless, predictable man she thought she'd married. She was about to find out exactly how wrong she was. That evening, I acted completely normal. I helped Ethan with his homework, listened to Natalie complain about her science teacher, and asked Anna about her day. She was unusually affectionate, probably feeling guilty about her upcoming disappearance. She kept touching my arm and smiling at me with what I now recognized as pity. "I love you," she said as we got ready for bed. "I love you too," I replied, and meant it. That was the tragedy of the whole situation. Despite everything, I still loved the woman I'd married. I just wasn't sure that woman existed anymore. Over the next few days, I prepared. I researched divorce lawyers, opened a separate bank account, and made copies of all our financial documents. I also did some investigating into Greg the gym owner, and social media made it easy. Greg posted constantly, shirtless gym selfies, motivational quotes, pictures of his expensive car. He was exactly the kind of guy who would sleep with a married woman and feel proud of himself for it. I also looked into Miranda's divorce. Public records showed that Brad, her ex-husband, had indeed filed for divorce shortly after some kind of incident involving a missing person report. The timeline matched perfectly with Miranda's story about her 5-day test. She'd tortured her husband with a fake disappearance, and when he didn't react the way she wanted, she'd used it as justification to leave him. Now she was encouraging my wife to do the same thing. On Thursday evening, Anna was nervous. She kept checking her phone and glancing at me like she was trying to memorize my face. The kids were doing homework in the living room while we cleaned up after dinner. "Derek," she said carefully, "I'm thinking of going away this weekend. Miranda's been having a hard time with the divorce, and she needs some girl time." "That sounds nice," I said, loading plates into the dishwasher. "Where are you thinking of going?" "Maybe that spa resort upstate, the one with no cell service." She was lying smoothly, probably having rehearsed this conversation. "I might not be able to call much." "Take all the time you need," I said. "The kids and I will be fine." She looked surprised by how easily I'd accepted it. "You don't mind?" "Anna, you've been stressed lately. If some time away will help, you should go." I turned to face her, putting on my most supportive husband expression. "I want you to be happy." She actually teared up. "I love you so much." "I know," I said, and kissed her forehead. What she didn't know was that I'd already made my own plans. Pete, my best friend from high school, was a retired cop who'd always thought Anna was too good to be true. When I'd called him that afternoon and told him I needed a favor, no questions asked, he'd agreed immediately. Friday morning arrived. Anna kissed me goodbye like she was going off to war, hugged the kids extra tight, and reminded me 3 times where she kept the emergency contact numbers. She was really selling the loving wife act. "I'll miss you," she said, her eyes actually welling up with tears. "Miss you too," I replied. "Have fun with Miranda." She left at 9 a.m., supposedly heading to pick up Miranda for their spa weekend. I knew she was actually going straight to Greg's place to begin her 5-day test of my devotion. I waited exactly 2 hours, then I went to work. I changed every lock on the house. I packed all of Anna's belongings into garbage bags and stacked them neatly in the garage. I called a lawyer and filed for divorce. Then I picked up the kids from school early and took them to Pete's apartment. "Dad, what's going on?" Natalie asked as I packed their overnight bags. At 12, she was sharp enough to know something was wrong. "Your mom and I are having some problems," I told her honestly. "You and Ethan are going to stay with Uncle Pete for a few days while we figure things out." "Are you getting divorced?" she asked bluntly. I looked at my daughter, so smart and direct, and decided she deserved the truth. Probably. Ethan, who was 9 and still believed his parents were perfect, started crying. I held him while Natalie stood there looking angry and sad and older than her years. "Is it Mom's fault?" Natalie asked. "It's both our fault," I said, which was a lie, but the right thing to tell them. Sometimes adults make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes are too big to fix. That evening, I sat in my empty house and wrote a note. I taped it to the front door where Anna would see it when she came back from her test. The note read, "Anna, I know about Greg. I know about the 5-day disappearance test. I know about everything. Test results. You failed. Your belongings are in the garage. The locks have been changed. My lawyer will be in touch. Derek." Then I posted a single message on Facebook. Some people test the love of those who care about them. Others cherish it. Guess which kind I married. Within an hour, my phone was buzzing with calls and messages from friends and family asking what was wrong. I didn't answer any of them. Let them wonder. Let the gossip mill start turning. Anna had wanted to test me. She was about to find out that I was full of surprises. Saturday morning at Pete's apartment was surreal. I woke up on his couch to the sound of Ethan and Natalie arguing over cereal while Pete tried to mediate in his gravelly ex-cop voice. "Uncle Pete, Ethan's using all the milk," Natalie complained. "There's more milk, kid." "World's not ending," Pete replied, shooting me a look that said, "Your turn, Dad." I stumbled into Pete's kitchen, grateful that my best friend had dropped everything to help me without asking questions. Pete was the kind of guy who'd take a bullet for his friends and then complain about the hospital food afterward. "Sleep at all?" he asked, handing me coffee. "Some." I checked my phone. 12 missed calls from Anna, starting at 11 p.m. the night before. The calls were spaced about an hour apart. She'd probably tried to get into the house around 10, found my note, and spent the night calling me from Greg's place. She figure it out yet? Pete asked. Oh yeah. I showed him the call log. Started calling around 11 last night. You gonna answer? Nope. My phone buzzed with a text from Anna. Derek, please call me. We need to talk. This is all a misunderstanding. I deleted it without responding. By noon, my Facebook post had 37 comments and 22 shares. Anna's sister had called twice. My mother had left a voicemail asking if I was okay. The gossip network in our small town was operating at full capacity. Pete was scrolling through the Facebook comments. Jesus, Derek. Listen to this one from your neighbor, Carol. I always knew something was off about Anna. Too friendly with that gym guy who comes around. People are brutal. Carol saw Greg at the house? Apparently, she's got a whole thread going about seeing his car in your driveway when you were at work. I felt sick. Not only had Anna been cheating, but she'd been careless enough that the neighbors noticed. Our marriage had been a joke, and I'd been the only one not in on it. Around 2 p.m., my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. Derek? This is Brad Morrison, Miranda's ex-husband. I stepped into Pete's bedroom for privacy. Hi, Brad. I saw your Facebook post. Look, I don't know what's going on with you and Anna, but if Miranda's involved, you need to know something. That 5-day disappearance thing, it's not a test, it's a setup. What do you mean? Miranda didn't disappear to test my love. She disappeared to spend 5 days with the guy she was cheating with. Then she came back and acted like I'd failed some relationship test because I didn't turn into a hysterical mess while she was gone. My suspicions were confirmed. Did you know she was cheating? Not until after the divorce. But looking back, all the signs were there. The girls' nights that got more frequent, the new clothes, the sudden interest in testing our relationship. Brad's voice was bitter. Miranda's not trying to help marriages. She's trying to destroy them so she doesn't feel like the only failure. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know what you're dealing with. Miranda's poison, and she's been poisoning your wife against you for months. After I hung up, I sat on Pete's bed staring at the wall. Anna hadn't just decided to cheat on me. She'd been systematically manipulated by a woman whose own marriage had imploded. Miranda had turned Anna against me as part of some twisted scheme to validate her own choices. But that didn't excuse Anna. She'd made her own decisions. She'd chosen to sleep with Greg, chosen to plan the 5-day test, chosen to betray our family. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from an unknown number. This is Greg. We need to talk. I stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back, No, we don't. His response came immediately. Anna's falling apart. She loves you. This whole thing got out of hand. Then she shouldn't have fucked you for 6 months, I replied. Look, man, I know you're angry. I blocked the number. Sunday afternoon, Pete convinced me to take the kids to the park. You're all going stir-crazy in here, he said. Get some air. At the park, Ethan played on the swings while Natalie sat beside me on a bench, too old for playground equipment, but not ready to talk about feelings. Is Mom really cheating? She asked finally. I'd promised myself I wouldn't badmouth Anna to the kids, but Natalie was smart enough to piece things together. Yeah, she is. With that gross gym guy who came to dinner that time? I turned to stare at her. Greg came to dinner? Like 2 months ago. You were working late. Mom said he was a friend from work, but he kept touching her arm and laughing too loud at everything she said. It was weird. My wife had brought her lover to our house, had dinner with him at our table while our children watched. The betrayal was so complete, so thorough, that I almost laughed. Dad? Natalie's voice was small. Are you okay? I will be, I told her, and meant it. That evening, I finally listened to one of Anna's voicemails. Derek, please, you have to let me explain. I know how this looks, but it's not what you think. I never meant for any of this to happen. I love you. I love our family. Please don't throw away 14 years over a mistake. A mistake. 6 months of planning and lying and cheating, and she called it a mistake. I called my lawyer, Jennifer Walsh, at home. Derek, everything okay? I need to move fast on this divorce. I have evidence of adultery, and I want full custody of the kids. What kind of evidence? I told her about the burner phone, the text messages, the 5-day test plan. I took photos of everything before she disappeared. That's good. Very good. But Derek, you need to be careful. Don't do anything that could be construed as harassment or intimidation. Take the high road. I'm not planning to hurt anyone. I just want this over with. Good. I'll file the papers first thing Monday morning. Monday morning, I went back to work for the first time since Anna's disappearance. My coworkers had seen my Facebook post, and the atmosphere was awkward. Everyone knew something had happened, but no one knew what to say. My supervisor, Mike Chen, called me into his office around 10 a.m. "Everything okay at home?" he asked. "Getting divorced," I said simply. "Sorry to hear that. You need time off?" "No, I need to work. I need the distraction." Mike nodded. "Well, if you need anything, let me know." At lunch, I drove past Greg's gym. Anna's car was in the parking lot. She was still there, still playing house with her lover while I dealt with lawyers and tried to explain to our children why their family was falling apart. I parked across the street and called the gym. "Peak Fitness, this is Greg." "This is Derek Fielding." "I know Anna's there. I want to talk to her." "Derek, look, we should all sit down and—" "Put my wife on the phone." There was a pause, then Anna's voice, shaky and scared. "Derek?" "The divorce papers will be served tomorrow. I'm seeking full custody. My lawyer says I have a strong case." "Derek, please, can we just talk? Face to face?" "We're talking now. I mean in person, without lawyers and anger and—" "You gave up the right to a civilized conversation when you decided to test me instead of talking to me. It wasn't supposed to happen like this." "How was it supposed to happen, Anna? You disappear for 5 days, I panic and call everyone we know, then you come back and tell me it was all a test, and I'm supposed to be grateful." "I just wanted to know if you still loved me." "I did love you." Past tense. You killed that when you chose Greg over our family. I hung up and drove back to work, my hands shaking with adrenaline. That evening, Pete and I were watching TV while the kids did homework when my phone rang. It was Carol, our neighbor. "Derek, honey, I hope you don't mind me calling. I just wanted you to know that Anna came by the house this afternoon." "What did she want?" "She was trying to get in through the back door. When she saw me watching, she came over and asked if I had a spare key. I told her I didn't, and she started crying and saying this was all a big misunderstanding." "What did you tell her?" "I told her that if it was a misunderstanding, she should call her husband instead of trying to break into his house." I almost smiled. Carol was 73 and didn't take nonsense from anyone. She also asked if I knew where you and the kids were staying. I told her that was none of her business. "Thanks, Carol. I appreciate you looking out for us." "That's what neighbors do, honey." "And Derek. For what it's worth, I always liked you better anyway." After I hung up, Pete looked at me with something like pride. "You're handling this better than I expected," he said. "What did you expect?" "I don't know. More yelling, more drinking, more stupid decisions." "I'm saving the stupid decisions for later." "What's that supposed to mean?" I looked at my kids doing homework at Pete's kitchen table, displaced from their home because their mother had chosen to blow up their family for a test she'd learned about on the internet. It means Anna wanted to test me. She's about to find out that I test differently than she expected. Tuesday morning brought divorce papers and a plan. Jennifer had filed everything as promised, and Anna would be served at Greg's gym by noon. But I wasn't content to let lawyers handle everything. Anna had made this public with her disappearing act, and I was going to keep it public. I started with social media. Instead of angry rants, I posted updates that painted me as the calm, reasonable husband dealing with an impossible situation. Day 4 of Anna's spa weekend. Still no word. The kids are asking questions I don't know how to answer. Sometimes the people we love surprise us, and not always in good ways. The comments poured in immediately. Friends and neighbors offering support, sharing their own stories of betrayal, speculating about what had really happened. Anna's reputation in our small town was disintegrating in real time. Next, I called Anna's workplace. She was an HR manager at a mid-sized insurance company, and her boss, Patricia Williams, had always been professional but friendly during company events. "Hi, Patricia. This is Derek Fielding, Anna's husband." "Derek, how are you? Is everything okay?" "Actually, no. Anna and I are getting divorced, and I wanted to give you a heads up since it might affect her work." "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that. Is there anything I can do?" "Well, Anna's been going through some personal issues lately. She disappeared for 4 days last weekend without telling me where she was going, leaving me to handle the kids alone. I just wanted you to know in case her behavior at work has been unusual." There was a pause. "Actually, Anna has seemed distracted lately. And she did call in sick yesterday, which was odd because she never uses sick days." "She wasn't sick. She was hiding out at her boyfriend's place." Another pause. Longer this time. "I see. Well, thank you for letting me know. I'll handle this appropriately." I hung up knowing that Anna's professional reputation was about to take a hit. HR managers who cheat on their spouses and abandon their children don't inspire confidence in their judgment. At lunch, I drove to Greg's gym. It was one of those aggressively masculine places with loud music, mirrors everywhere, and motivational posters featuring shirtless men lifting impossible weights. Greg's car was in the parking lot, a red Corvette that screamed midlife crisis. I walked in and asked the teenager at the front desk where I could find Greg. "He's training a client in the back," she said. "Can I help you with something?" "I'm here to see my wife," I said loudly enough for the other people in the gym to hear. "She's been staying here for the past few days?" The girl looked confused. I don't think anyone's staying here." Anna Fielding, about 5'6", brown hair, married, but apparently forgot to mention that part. A guy on the treadmill had stopped running and was openly staring. 2 women by the weight machines had paused their workout to listen. "I'll get Greg," the girl said nervously. Greg appeared a minute later, all 6 feet of him trying to look intimidating in a tank top that showed off his gym-built muscles. He was handsome in an obvious way, with perfect teeth and hair that cost more to maintain than my monthly grocery budget. "Derek," he said, extending his hand like we were meeting at a business conference. "We should probably talk privately." "No, I think here is fine," I said, ignoring his handshake. "Where's Anna?" "She's not here right now, but she has been staying here. With you, while I've been taking care of our children." The gym had gone quiet. Everyone was pretending to work out while listening to every word. "Look, this is complicated," Greg started. "It's not complicated at all. You're sleeping with my wife. She told me she was going to a spa, but she's actually been playing house with you while testing whether I love her enough to panic when she disappears." Greg's face flushed red. "You don't understand the situation. I understand that Anna's been cheating on me for months, and you've been helping her. I understand that she brought you to my house for dinner while I was working to pay for my kids' braces. I understand that you're both cowards who couldn't end my marriage honestly." "Your marriage was already over," Greg snapped. "Anna's been unhappy for years. Then she should have gotten divorced before she started fucking you." The word hung in the air like a slap. Several people had stopped pretending to work out and were openly staring now. "I think you should leave," Greg said, trying to regain control of the situation. "I think you should stay away from my family," I replied. "Anna can make her own choices, but my kids don't need to be around someone who thinks marriage vows are suggestions." I turned to leave, then stopped and addressed the room. "For anyone thinking of joining this gym, just know that the owner specializes in helping married women work out their relationship problems. Very hands-on approach." I walked out to the sound of nervous laughter and whispered conversations. By evening, the story would be all over town. Back at Pete's apartment, I found a text from Anna. "How could you embarrass Greg like that? He's a good person who got caught up in a bad situation." I stared at the message in disbelief. After everything she'd done, Anna was worried about Greg's feelings. I typed back, "A good person wouldn't sleep with someone else's wife, but I'm glad to see where your priorities are." Her response came immediately. "I want to see my children." "Then you should have thought of that before you decided to test me instead of talking to me. Derek, please. I know I made mistakes, but I'm still their mother." "You're right. You are their mother. And they're going to have to live with the fact that their mother cared more about testing their father than protecting their family." I blocked her number after that. Whatever Anna had to say, she could say it through lawyers. That evening, Pete and I were grilling burgers on his tiny balcony when his phone rang. "It's Brad Morrison," he told me, covering the phone. "Miranda's ex? You want to talk to him?" I took the phone. "Hi, Brad. Derek, I heard through the grapevine what's going on. I wanted to give you some advice, if you're willing to hear it." "I'm listening." "Don't let them make you the villain. Miranda's really good at twisting situations to make herself look like the victim. She'll probably try to convince people that Anna was just confused, or that you drove her to cheat, or that the 5-day test was some kind of legitimate relationship therapy. How do I stop that? Keep telling the truth. Keep being the reasonable one. Let Anna and Miranda dig their own graves while you take care of your kids and handle this like an adult." "Is that what you did?" "No, I got angry and did stupid things that made me look bad. Don't make my mistakes." After I hung up, Pete looked at me seriously. "He's right, you know. You're winning right now because you're staying calm and letting Anna look crazy. Don't screw that up by doing something stupid." "What makes you think I'm planning something stupid?" "Because I know you. And because Anna deserves whatever you're thinking about doing to her." I smiled. Pete knew me too well. I'm not going to hurt anyone. I'm just going to make sure everyone knows exactly who Anna really is. That's what I'm afraid of. But I'd already made up my mind. Anna had wanted to test me, and I'd failed her test by not panicking when she disappeared. Now it was my turn to test her. I wanted to see how she handled being exposed for what she really was. The next morning, I created a detailed timeline of Anna's affair and posted it on Facebook. Not angry or vindictive, just factual. The dates I'd found Greg's car at our house according to the neighbors. The timeline of her increasing girls' nights out. The discovery of the burner phone and the 5-day test plan. I'm sharing this not to hurt Anna, but because I believe in honesty, I wrote. Our friends and family deserve to know why our marriage ended. It wasn't because we grew apart or had irreconcilable differences. It ended because Anna chose to have an affair and then test my love by disappearing for 5 days while she stayed with her lover. I tagged Anna, Miranda, and Greg in the post. Within an hour, it had been shared 47 times. The comments were brutal. Anna's coworkers, our neighbors, even some of her own family members were expressing shock and disappointment. Anna's sister called me directly. "Derek, what the hell is going on? Anna's saying you've lost your mind and are making up lies about her. Check her phone records, Sarah. Check her credit card statements. Ask her to explain where she was this weekend." She said she was at a spa with Miranda. Call Miranda and ask her which spa. There was a long pause. Oh my God, this is really true, isn't it? I'm sorry you had to find out this way, but I'm not going to let Anna rewrite history to make herself look better. What about the kids? The kids are fine. They're staying with Pete until I can figure out a permanent arrangement. And Anna? Anna made her choice. Now she gets to live with the consequences. That afternoon, my phone rang with a number I recognized. Greg's gym. Peak Fitness. This is Melissa. Hi, this is Derek Fielding. I was there yesterday looking for my wife. Oh, yes, I remember. I just wanted to apologize if I made you uncomfortable. This whole situation has been hard on everyone. It's okay. Actually, I wanted to tell you that a lot of people have been calling today asking about what you said yesterday. What kind of people? Mostly women asking if it's true that Greg gets involved with married clients. A few people canceled their memberships. I felt a surge of satisfaction. That's unfortunate. Yeah, Greg's pretty upset. He's been making phone calls all morning, trying to do damage control. Well, I hope everything works out. After I hung up, I allowed myself a small smile. Greg was learning that actions have consequences. Anna was about to learn the same lesson. Thursday brought the custody hearing, and I was ready. Jennifer had prepared a devastating case based on Anna's abandonment of the children, her affair, and her deceptive behavior. Anna showed up with a public defender who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Anna looked terrible. She'd lost weight, her hair was unwashed, and she kept glancing around the courtroom like she expected someone to rescue her. Greg wasn't there. Apparently his support only extended so far. Your Honor, Jennifer began. Mr. Fielding is seeking full custody of his 2 minor children based on Mrs. Fielding's recent abandonment of the family home and her ongoing affair with another man. Anna's lawyer stood up. Your Honor, Mrs. Fielding admits to some poor judgment, but she's been going through a difficult time. She never intended to abandon her children. She left them for 5 days without explanation, Jennifer replied. She told her husband she was going to a spa, but she was actually staying with her lover as part of some kind of test of her husband's devotion. The judge, an older woman named Patricia Hendricks, looked at Anna with obvious disapproval. Mrs. Fielding, is it true that you left your children for 5 days to stay with another man? Anna stood up shakily. Your Honor, it's more complicated than that. I was having doubts about my marriage, and I needed time to think. You needed time to think, so you lied to your husband and abandoned your children? I didn't abandon them. I knew Derek would take care of them. You knew, mister. Fielding would take care of them because you left them without any explanation or assurance of when you'd return? Anna started crying. I made a mistake. I know that now, but I love my children. Mrs. Fielding, do you have a place to live? I'm staying with a friend temporarily. The same friend you were staying with during your 5-day disappearance? Anna's lawyer whispered something to her. Yes, Your Honor. And this friend is the man you've been having an affair with? Yes, Your Honor. Judge Hendricks made some notes, then looked up. Mr. Fielding, where are the children currently staying? With my best friend, Your Honor, Pete Morrison. He's a retired police officer and has a clean background check. And you have stable housing and employment? Yes, Your Honor. I own our family home, and I have steady employment as a project manager. The judge made more notes. Mrs. Fielding, I'm granting temporary full custody to Mr. Fielding. You'll have supervised visitation on weekends, pending a full custody evaluation. I strongly suggest you find stable housing and consider counseling before we revisit this arrangement. Anna collapsed into her chair, sobbing. Her lawyer patted her shoulder awkwardly. Outside the courthouse, Anna tried to approach me. "Derek, please, can we talk?" "Talk to my lawyer," I said, walking toward my car. "I'm your wife." "We should be able to have a conversation." I turned around. "You were my wife. Now you're the woman who chose to test me instead of trusting me. There's a difference. I was scared. Miranda convinced me that you didn't love me anymore, and I panicked. So you decided to sleep with Greg for 6 months? That started before the test idea. It just happened." "Nothing just happens, Anna. You made choices. You chose Greg over our family. You chose to lie to me for months. You chose to abandon our kids to play house with your boyfriend. Own your choices. What do you want from me?" I said I was sorry. "I want you to leave me alone. I want you to be a good mother to our children during your supervised visits. And I want you to stop pretending this is anyone's fault but your own." I got in my car and drove away, leaving Anna standing in the courthouse parking lot. That evening, I picked up Natalie and Ethan from Pete's and took them out to dinner at their favorite restaurant. They were quiet at first, still processing the fact that their family had imploded. "Dad?" Ethan asked as we waited for our food. Is Mom in trouble?" "Mom made some bad choices, and now she has to deal with the consequences, but she's not in jail or anything like that." "When can we see her?" "This weekend. A social worker will be there to make sure everything goes okay." Natalie looked up from her menu. "Why does there need to be a social worker?" I chose my words carefully. "Because the judge wants to make sure you and Ethan are safe and comfortable during visits with Mom." "Are we not safe with Mom?" "You're safe. The judge just wants to be extra careful right now." Natalie nodded like she understood more than she was saying. "Dad? Are you okay?" The question caught me off guard. "What do you mean?" "You seem different. Angrier. But also, I don't know, stronger." I looked at my 12-year-old daughter, so perceptive and mature beyond her years. "I am different," I admitted. "Sometimes when people hurt us, we discover parts of ourselves we didn't know existed. Is that good or bad? I don't know yet." Friday morning brought more fallout. Anna's boss, Patricia, called me at work. "Derek, I wanted to let you know that Anna won't be returning to work. We've decided to part ways." I'm sorry to hear that. Frankly, her judgment has been compromised. HR managers need to maintain certain standards, both professionally and personally. Anna's recent behavior doesn't reflect the values of our company. I understand. I also wanted to thank you for giving me a heads up earlier this week. It helped me handle the situation appropriately. After I hung up, I felt a mixture of satisfaction and guilt. Anna was losing everything, her family, her job, her reputation, but she'd brought it all on herself. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Miranda. We need to talk." I ignored it. 5 minutes later, another text. "You're destroying Anna's life over a mistake." I typed back, "Anna destroyed her own life. I'm just making sure everyone knows the truth. She loves you. The test was supposed to bring you closer together. The test was supposed to justify her affair and make me look like the bad guy when she left me. I'm not as stupid as you both thought. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. There's a difference." I blocked Miranda's number and got back to work. That afternoon, Pete called me with news. "Greg's gym is in trouble," he said. "Remember my buddy Tom, who works for the health department? He says they got multiple complaints this week about inappropriate behavior by the owner. They're doing a full inspection." "What kind of complaints?" "The kind that suggest Greg makes a habit of getting too close to his female clients. Apparently your little speech on Tuesday opened some floodgates." I felt a surge of satisfaction. Greg was learning that his behavior had consequences beyond just wrecking my marriage. "There's more," Pete continued. "Anna's been calling around town trying to find a job. Word's gotten out about what happened and nobody wants to hire her. That's unfortunate. Derek, you need to be careful. Anna's getting desperate, and desperate people do stupid things. What's she going to do? She's already destroyed our marriage and lost custody of the kids. That's what worries me. She's got nothing left to lose." That evening, I was at home alone for the first time since Anna's disappearance. The kids were at Pete's for one more night before moving back home, and the house felt strange and empty. I walked through the rooms, noticing things I'd missed before. Pictures of Anna and me that now looked fake. Gifts from Greg that I'd assumed came from Anna's coworkers. Signs of the affair that I'd been too trusting to see. In our bedroom, my bedroom now, I found a letter Anna had left on my pillow. "Derek," it began. "I know you hate me right now, and I don't blame you. I made terrible choices, and I hurt the people I love most. but please don't let your anger destroy what's left of our family. The kids need both of us, and somewhere deep down, I think we still love each other. The woman who married you 14 years ago is still here, buried under all the mistakes and lies. If you can find any forgiveness in your heart, please call me. We can fix this if we try. Love, Anna. I read the letter twice, then tore it into small pieces and threw it in the trash. Anna was right about one thing. I was angry. But it wasn't the hot, destructive anger she was expecting. It was cold, calculated anger. The kind that plans and waits and strikes at exactly the right moment. Anna had tested me and found me wanting. Now I was going to test her and see how she handled being exposed, humiliated, and abandoned by everyone she'd counted on. The game was far from over. Saturday morning, I moved the kids back home. Natalie helped me rearrange the living room while Ethan played in his room, both of them trying to pretend everything was normal. The house felt different without Anna's presence. Cleaner somehow, like we'd removed something toxic from the air. "Dad," Natalie said as we moved the couch back to its original position, "Mom called me last night." I stopped pushing furniture. "What did she say?" "She wanted me to ask you to call her. She said she has something important to tell you about Uncle Pete." "What about Uncle Pete?" "I don't know." She was crying and not making much sense. She said Pete was filling your head with lies about her. I sighed. Anna was getting desperate, trying to turn me against the one person who'd supported me through this nightmare. "Pete's been nothing but helpful, Nat." "Your mom's just upset because things didn't go the way she planned." "I know. I told her that Pete's been nice to us and that you seem happier now." "What did she say to that?" "She started crying harder and hung up." That afternoon, Anna showed up for her first supervised visit with the kids. The social worker, a kind woman named Beth Rodriguez, met us at a family center downtown. Anna looked even worse than she had at the custody hearing, thin, pale, with dark circles under her eyes. "Hi, babies," she said, trying to hug Natalie and Ethan. Natalie submitted to the hug stiffly, while Ethan clung to Anna like she might disappear again. "I missed you so much," Anna whispered into Ethan's hair. "Where were you, Mom?" Ethan asked. "Dad said you were having problems, but you didn't say goodbye." Anna glanced at me over Ethan's head, her eyes pleading. "I had to go away for a while to think about some things, but I'm back now." "Are you coming home?" "Not right now, sweetheart, but I'm going to see you every weekend." I left them alone with the social worker and went to grab coffee. When I came back an hour later, Anna was crying again while the kids looked uncomfortable. "Everything okay?" I asked Beth. Mrs. Fielding became emotional when the children asked about the divorce. Beth said diplomatically, "It might be helpful if she could find a way to discuss this situation without breaking down." Anna wiped her eyes. "I'm fine. It's just hard. I understand, but the children need stability right now, not more emotional upheaval." After the visit, Anna tried to corner me in the parking lot. "Derek, please, I'm begging you. I've lost everything. My job, my home, my kids. Don't you think I've been punished enough?" "You haven't lost your kids. You have visitation. Supervised visitation, like I'm some kind of criminal. You abandoned them for 5 days to shack up with your boyfriend. What did you expect?" "I made a mistake." "You made a series of deliberate choices over the course of 6 months. Stop calling it a mistake." Anna grabbed my arm. "I'll do anything. Counseling, therapy, whatever you want. Just give me a chance to fix this." I looked down at her hand on my arm, then back at her face. "Anna, do you know what the worst part of this whole thing is?" "What?" "It's not that you cheated. It's not even that you lied to me for months. It's that you thought I was so stupid, so weak, so pathetic, that I would just accept whatever story you decided to tell me. I never thought you were stupid. You thought I wouldn't notice Greg's car at our house. You thought I wouldn't find your burner phone. You thought I would panic when you disappeared and prove my love by making a fool of myself while you laughed about it with your boyfriend. That's not... You bet our entire marriage on the assumption that I was too dumb to figure out what you were doing. You lost that bet." I got in my car and drove away, leaving Anna standing in the parking lot for the second time that week. Sunday evening, Pete came over for dinner. The kids had gone to bed, and we were sitting on my back deck with beers, enjoying the first peaceful moment I'd had in weeks. "How are you holding up?" Pete asked. "Better than I expected. The kids are adjusting, work is going well, and I'm sleeping better than I have in months." "And Anna?" "Anna's learning that actions have consequences." Pete was quiet for a moment. "Derek, I need to tell you something. Anna came by my apartment yesterday. I set down my beer." "What did she want?" "She wanted me to convince you to take her back. She offered me money to tell you that I thought you were making a mistake." "Jesus. What did you tell her? I told her that you were the happiest I'd seen you in years, and that maybe she should focus on being a good mother instead of trying to manipulate everyone around her. How did she take that? Not well. She accused me of poisoning you against her, said I was jealous of your marriage and wanted to break you up. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. She's really lost touch with reality, hasn't she? Desperate people tell themselves whatever they need to hear. Monday morning brought the final piece of Anna's downfall. Greg called me at work. Derek, we need to talk. I thought I blocked your number. I'm calling from the gym. Look, this whole thing has gotten out of hand. My business is tanking, Anna's falling apart, and everyone in town thinks I'm some kind of predator. Aren't you? I'm not a predator. Anna came on to me. She said her marriage was over, that you two were just going through the motions. And you believed her? She seemed sincere. Greg, let me explain something to you. Anna told you what you wanted to hear so you'd sleep with her. Then she told me she was going to a spa so she could spend 5 days with you. Anna lies. It's what she does. She loves you, man. She talks about you all the time. She loves the idea of having her cake and eating it too. She wanted to keep me as the stable provider while having exciting sex with you. When that didn't work out, she tried to make me look like the bad guy with her disappearing act. There was a long pause. I'm closing the gym. I'm sorry to hear that. No, you're not. You're glad. You wanted to destroy my business. I wanted people to know who you really are. If that destroyed your business, maybe you should have thought about that before you started sleeping with married women. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Stay away from my family, Greg. Find another town to ruin marriages in. I hung up and immediately called Jennifer to report the threatening phone call. That evening, Anna called me from yet another new number. Derek, please, I'm desperate. Greg kicked me out. I don't have anywhere to go. Stay with Miranda. Miranda won't talk to me. She says I ruined her reputation by association. I almost laughed. The woman who'd orchestrated Anna's affair and disappearing act was now distancing herself to save her own skin. Anna, that's not my problem. I'm sleeping in my car. Then maybe you should call your sister, or get a job and find an apartment. No one will hire me. Everyone in town knows what happened. Then move to a different town. I can't leave. My children are here. Your children are fine. They're safe. They're fed. They're in their own beds every night. Everything you should have been thinking about before you decided to test me. Derek, I'm begging you. Stop begging. It's pathetic. You made your choices. Now live with them. I hung up and blocked the new number. Tuesday morning, I was getting the kids ready for school when Natalie asked the question I'd been dreading. Dad, is Mom really sleeping in her car? Where did you hear that? She told Ethan yesterday during the phone call. He's been worried about her. I knelt down to Ethan's level. Buddy, Mom has choices. She can stay with friends, or find a job and get an apartment, or move somewhere else and start over. She's not helpless. But what if something happens to her? Nothing's going to happen to her. Mom's a grown-up, and grown-ups are responsible for taking care of themselves. But you took care of her when you were married. That was different. When people are married, they take care of each other. But Mom decided she didn't want to be married anymore. She says she wants to come home, I sighed. Mom wants to come home now because she's facing consequences for her choices. But when she had a home, she chose to spend her time with Greg instead of with us. Natalie nodded like she understood. So it's too late? Some things can't be fixed, Nat. When people break trust, sometimes it stays broken. That afternoon, I got a call from Beth, the social worker. Mr. Fielding, I wanted to let you know that Mrs. Fielding missed her scheduled visit today. Did she call to reschedule? No, she just didn't show up. The children were disappointed. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Has she been in contact with you? She called Sunday night asking for money. I told her to find a job. I see. Well, if she continues to miss visits, we'll have to reevaluate the arrangement. After I hung up, I felt a mixture of anger and sadness. Anna was so focused on getting her old life back that she was neglecting the one relationship that might have survived this mess, her relationship with our children. That evening, I was helping Ethan with his math homework when someone started pounding on the front door. Through the window, I could see Anna, looking wild-eyed and desperate. Derek! Open the door! I know you're in there. I told the kids to go upstairs, then opened the door with the chain still attached. Anna, you need to leave. This is my house too. I have a right to be here. No, you don't. The divorce decree gives me exclusive use of the marital home. I don't have anywhere else to go. That's not my problem. Our children are in there. They need to see their mother. They saw you yesterday. Or they would have, if you'd shown up for your scheduled visit. Anna's face crumpled. I couldn't face them. I couldn't face anyone. Then get help. Go to counseling, find a support group, figure out how to rebuild your life. But don't come here drunk and desperate expecting me to fix everything. I'm not drunk. But she was. I could smell alcohol on her breath, could see it in her unfocused eyes and unsteady posture. Go home, Anna, wherever that is now. I don't have a home. You took everything from me. I didn't take anything. You threw it all away. I closed the door and locked it, listening to Anna pound on it for another minute before she finally gave up and left. The next morning, I called Jennifer and requested a restraining order. What happened? She asked. I told her about Anna's late-night visit, her drinking, her erratic behavior. I'm worried she's becoming unstable. I don't want her around the kids when she's like this. I'll file the paperwork today. In the meantime, document everything. If she contacts you again, save the messages. That afternoon, Anna was served with the restraining order at the McDonald's, where she'd apparently been spending her days using the free Wi-Fi. The sheriff's deputy who served it called to confirm. Well, she took it pretty hard, he said. Started crying and saying her husband was trying to keep her from her children. Did you explain that the order doesn't affect her scheduled visitation? I did. She calmed down after that. But Anna didn't calm down. That evening, she violated the restraining order by calling me from the McDonald's payphone. Derek, this has gone too far. I'm going to kill myself. No, you're not. I am. I've lost everything. My husband, my children, my job, my home. I have nothing left to live for. Anna, if you're really suicidal, call 911 or go to the emergency room. Don't call me. You're the only one who can fix this. I can't fix this. Nobody can fix this except you. How? Tell me how to fix this. Accept responsibility for your choices. Stop blaming everyone else. Get sober. Get counseling. Find a job and a place to live. Be a good mother during your visits. Rebuild your life one day at a time. And then you'll take me back? No, but you might become someone worth knowing again. Anna was quiet for a long moment. You really hate me, don't you? I don't hate you, Anna. I just don't love you anymore. You killed that when you chose to test me instead of trusting me. I'm sorry. I know, but sorry doesn't fix everything. I hung up and immediately called 911 to report Anna's suicide threat. Then I called Jennifer to report the restraining order violation. She'll probably be arrested, Jennifer warned me. Good. Maybe a night in jail will give her some perspective. The next morning, I got a call from the county jail. Anna had been arrested for violating the restraining order and was being held on a psychiatric hold after her suicide threat. She wanted to call the kids. Absolutely not, I told the officer. She can call them after she's released and sober. She's asking if you'll bail her out. No? She says she's sorry and wants to make things right. She can make things right by getting help and staying away from my family until she's stable. Anna spent 3 days in jail, followed by a week in a psychiatric facility. When she was released, she called me from a halfway house. Derek, I'm getting help. Real help. I'm in a program for people with addiction and relationship issues. That's good, Anna. I'm glad. I want to see the kids. Talk to Beth about scheduling a visit. If your counselor thinks you're ready. I am ready. I understand now what I did wrong. Do you? I was selfish. I was thinking about what I wanted instead of what was best for our family. I let Miranda convince me that you didn't love me, and instead of talking to you about it, I had an affair. It was the first time Anna had taken real responsibility for her choices. That's a start, I said. Is there any chance? No. You didn't let me finish. You were going to ask if there's any chance we could get back together. The answer is no. But if I get better? Anna, even if you become a completely different person, even if you get sober and find God and dedicate your life to charity, the answer will still be no. You didn't just cheat on me. You planned to humiliate me. You brought your lover to our house. You abandoned our children to test whether I loved you enough to panic. Those aren't the actions of someone who made a mistake. Those are the actions of someone who never really loved me at all. That's not true. It is true. Someone who loves me would have talked to me about her doubts. Someone who loves me would never have put me through the 5-day test. Someone who loves me would have ended our marriage before starting a new relationship. Anna was crying now. So, what happens now? Now you focus on being a good mother to our children. You rebuild your life, you learn to be happy alone, and you let me do the same. And if I do all that, then maybe someday our kids will respect you again. Maybe someday you'll respect yourself. I hung up feeling lighter than I had in months. 6 months later, Anna was living in a small apartment across town, working as a receptionist at a dental office, and seeing the kids every other weekend without supervision. She'd completed her program, stayed sober, and learned to interact with me civilly during custody exchanges. Greg had left town after his gym closed, owing money to half the businesses in the area. Miranda had moved away too, after her reputation made it impossible to find work locally. I was dating a teacher named Susan, who made me laugh and treated my children with kindness. The kids liked her. Anna didn't make scenes about her, and life was peaceful in a way it had never been during my marriage. One evening, as I was tucking Ethan into bed, he asked me a question that caught me off guard. "Dad, do you think Mom will ever be happy again?" "I hope so, buddy. Everyone deserves to be happy. Even after what she did? Even then. People can change if they really want to." "Do you think she really wanted to hurt us?" I considered the question carefully. "I think Mom was confused and made bad choices. But I don't think she wanted to hurt you and Natalie." "What about you? Did she want to hurt you?" "I think she wanted to test me, and she didn't think about how much that would hurt." Ethan was quiet for a moment. "I'm glad you didn't take her back." "Why?" "Because you're happier now. And when you're happy, we're happy." I kissed his forehead and turned off the light, thinking about how much we'd all changed over the past year. Anna had tested me and found me wanting. She'd expected me to panic, to beg, to prove my love by making a fool of myself while she laughed about it with her boyfriend. Instead, I'd shown her exactly who I really was. Not the weak, predictable husband she'd taken for granted, but someone who valued himself enough to walk away from people who didn't appreciate him. The 5-day disappearance had been Anna's test of my love, but in the end, it had become my test of her character, and she had failed spectacularly. As I settled into bed that night, I realized that Anna had actually done me a favor. She'd forced me to discover strengths I didn't know I had, to stand up for myself in ways I'd never imagined, and to create a better life for my children and myself. The underdog had won after all. 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 After all.